Everyone see the room the rooms you're
Yes.
in, determine your results. Awesome. Let me set this a little bit
Well,
more.
sometimes some of us make that occasional mistake just to prove we're human.
I like that, Steve. Maybe I'm going to start using that as my reasoning too.
Feel free.
I am a recovering perfectionist, and it is so much nicer not trying to be perfect all the time.
I know it well.
Let me do one more check just on because I don't have anyone helping me on Facebook. There's not someone saying I don't have the link. So I can't put when I put the actual link on a Facebook post or something, Facebook hates it and then no one ever else sees it. So I try not to do that until like we'll say last second.
About
Uh
6 o'clock this past Monday morning, I sent an attorney a text message saying, done is better than perfect.
hmm Yeah, I love that one. Now attorney, I kind of want them to be if they're doing my paperwork, I want them to be perfect.
Not at
But
the
yes.
expense of not getting it done.
Yeah, that's a good point. I want my doctors to be pretty perfect too when they're working on me. All right, we're a minute after. Let's get. Oh, Dan jumped in here now. Oh, Les. Hey, buddy. Haven't seen you in a bit. Sarah,
Hey, good afternoon. Sorry, I was on mute for a
you're
second.
you're all good, man. I know you probably got a big gator that you're wrestling right now, so you can't have the screen on.
I put my camera on.
You're
No, sir.
good.
All right, good deal.
All right, let me actually get started here. So yeah, thank you all for being here. We are going to be talking about the rooms that we're in. That's why you joined, I hope, not just to see me. I'm going to have save the questions for the end. I know sometimes I take questions during, but for more the respective people's time that can only be on here for a few minutes, we'll go through the little bit I have ready for you to share, and then we'll do questions, and I'll stay for a bit there. So I have found I can usually look at someone's results in their life, their business, real estate, and kind of tell what rooms they're in or what rooms they're not in. And that's definitely been true in my life as well. There's people on here that have known me long enough that can attest to that. So doing it alone is something I thought had to be done for the longest time. Some of you may have seen my little investing chart here I've made of my career. I was doing it all alone until 2015. I was scared to ask for help with anyone. And at 2015, I started going to RIA meetings, but I still didn't understand like how to actually use a room, the value of a room. It wasn't a mastermind room, it was just going to RIAs. And so it is help. But before that, I was just truly alone. And then in May of 2016 is when I started being like in a room, like a mastermind room. I still admittedly didn't understand how to really use them. It probably took me at least 3 to 6 months to actually understand the value of the room and how to ask for help and just be vulnerable in a room and really use a room. And then you can kind of see from there, things really took off. And it has been one of the more powerful things I've done in my entire business career, but also like for my personal life. Again, I didn't get here by figuring it all out alone. It's way too slow. I got here by having the right people around me to help me grow in the areas that I say I want to grow. So the rooms you're in either expand you or keep you where you're at. And I didn't realize this again for a long time. I thought it was just another strategy I needed, another course, another deal. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was I wasn't in rooms that helped keep me focused or that were pushing me. And I have seen that most people aren't stuck because they don't know what to do. they actually know what to do. They're stuck because of who they're around, that they're not pushing them to do what they think they should do or keeping them focused with, I call it guardrails. So the question I have for you is, what are you doing? Who are you around? And what rooms are you in? So let me tell you the rooms that actually changed my life. These are some of the rooms that have had some of the biggest impacts on my life. Uh, and none of them are the same. They've all done different things for me. Uh, Elite Level Mastermind is a room that I can't hide. And I think we got someone unmuted. I'm just gonna hit mute. Um, so Elite Level Mastermind is a room, what did I say? I can't hide. High level investors. People call me out. There's definitely very direct call out. People expect a lot more out of me, sometimes even than I expect for myself. And because of that, I have to show up differently. Toastmasters. This one surprised me because I actually just joined to expand my network. But then what I really got out of it is confidence. I know that Lisa can attest to that as well. She's a fellow Toastmaster. And just getting those reps in, being uncomfortable, being seen, those are all little things that I've gotten from Toastmasters that, again, I didn't expect. I was just trying to get into a different room and expand my network. Yoga. Yoga is another one. This seems a little different maybe to some people, but that room, a yoga studio, a community has really taught me to slow down, be more present. And because I slow down and I'm more present, I make better decisions. RIA groups, or today is a little bit more of coffee meetups. Early on, I went to a lot of RIA meetings. Those in the Tampa Bay area have heard me be called a RIA whore at some point because I was going to 4 to 8 of these a week, every week, driving up to 2 hours, almost full-time job. And it was great for that phase. But then as I've grown, now I value more smaller rooms, a little more intentional who I'm around, conversations. So today I prefer the RIA meetups that are a little bit more of like a coffee meeting. Like I'll be at coffee tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning with some other investors. I still attend some of these other bigger RIA meetings, but I get the more impactful, um, not only one-on-one, but smaller group in those rooms. And again, the different rooms have all served me differently, different stages, and I think that is important. So when people say, what room should I be in? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Like, you can't really just answer what room. It's where your current goals are at. And then last but not least here on this little list is Inside Lifestyle REI. I built this room for people who wanted support, yet being called out, an environment which pushed action, real conversations, people actually doing deals, supporting each other. And the goal isn't to be in every room. I'm not saying to go out and join all of these at one time. It's which room is the right room for where you are now, and which rooms are you in now? Which rooms are for your next level, not someone else's on the call's next level, your next level. So how do you actually know if it's the right room? Next slide. Come on. There we go. So how do I choose the right room? How do you know which is the right room? I don't just join rooms randomly anymore. That's what I did for a long time, and that's how I've kind of learned a lot of this about myself. I'm very intentional of where I spend my time and who I'm around. So I like rooms that they inspire me to grow. I'm not just inspired by the people in the room, but meaning like where I want to be. Like, are these people helping me be inspired to be there? They understand me. Doesn't mean they have to be exactly like me. I mean, heck, no one wears as much yellow as I wear. Um, but they understand what I'm trying to build. They understand my personality. Some people have different finish lines, but again, they understand me and they're willing to understand me. And they'll call me out. I mentioned that earlier. This one matters. I don't want people just agreeing with me. I need people who will actually call me out when I'm off. I call it kind of my guardrails. That's very important to me. I will joke around sometimes that if I just want to hear that everything's going great, I'll just call my mom. She'll tell me I'm doing great. And it's an important role, but I want to be in rooms for this reason is being called out. The rooms have my best interest in mind. So not competition, not high ego. They actually want to see me win. And then for me, the last one is the small enough to build real relationships. If the room is too big, I can hide, I can get lost. And if you can hide, you're not in the right room because then all these others don't happen. And if you get lost in the room, I don't think it's the right room. It's you're not building connections there. And that's why sometimes those big event rooms are a little more struggle for me. Now, I've been in rooms where I feel comfortable, and then looking back, that was kind of a problem because then I got a little lazy. So when you think about the rooms you're in right now, do they check these boxes? And why does it matter so much to be in these rooms, to have these boxes checked? Is business is lonely. I mean, for most entrepreneurs or smaller business or real estate investor, uh, it can be really lonely. You're making decisions on your own. I mean, even realtors, like Lisa, you're out with people all the time, but they're not helping you make a decision. So it's still sometimes when we're around people, it can still be very lonely in the business side of it. Um, I know I've second guessed myself a lot, and a lot of times I don't even realize if I'm not on the right track because I'm inside the glass and I need people outside to help look at me. It's been very easy to get stuck in my own head. Um, I've been an overthinker. I'm not sure if anyone else here has ever done the overthinking thing, but that can be dangerous. I've talked myself out of deals. And actually, the opposite's true. I've almost talked myself into deals that then I brought to a room and I was like, that's a bad idea. So, um, or convinced myself I'm doing better than I actually am. And then the opposite can be true is convince myself that I'm doing good when others see a lot more in me. And that's where the right room changes everything. It can challenge all these things. It can help be the opposites of all these places I've gotten stuck, and I assume a lot of y'all have gotten stuck at some point. And it's a place that I actually look forward to being in. So all of those rooms are not like a to-do list, checklist. I just have to do it. I get excited when they come up. Like I mentioned, tomorrow morning is a coffee meetup. I'm excited to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go. I have my Inside Lifestyle REI call after this. I'm excited to jump on that call. It's not like this thing I have to do. So, what kind of room might you actually need right now? Not everyone needs the same room. We mentioned that. Where you are right now really determines the kind of room you need. So, I kind of broke it up in these three chunks, we'll say. The learning room, it's where most people start. They're learning, they're figuring things out, trying to understand the basics. And most of us think we need the learning room, and sometimes we do, but a lot of times we already know enough to go and start taking action. And what actually is needed is the growth room. I see most people get stuck right here, is between the learning room and the growth room. They're just the forever students. We've heard people be called that. They just keep buying more education and never do anything. The growth room is where you actually start taking action. You're doing deals, you're in business, you're actually making some money, and you need more confidence, conversations, accountability. Those are the type of things that I see happening in a growth room. And in the acceleration room, this is where things move faster. You're not trying to figure out things anymore. You're refining, you're scaling, you're thinking much bigger. And the rooms matter here a lot more that you're in the right room. I think as we keep going up this scale, the actual room you're in matters more and more and more. The learning room, you can learn something from every type of room. The growth room, you want to refine a little bit more so you have the right people, as we talked about, pouring into you the right way, keeping your guardrails on. And then when you're in the acceleration, you really need it because you're going to be moving a lot faster. And if they have you moving faster towards a direction that you don't actually want, but they have you moving that way, you're not going to be happy because you're going to be really far down the wrong path. So to give you some examples of the two rooms that I help facilitate and run is my group coaching of the Inside Lifestyle REI. It's for people that actually that know what they actually need. It's a growth room. The people are there to talk to each other, to grow with each other. They have someone to talk to, bounce ideas off of, the accountability, the confidence, real conversations with people actually in business, not just education theory. And yeah, I have education in there, but it's not the main value. The value is really the room. And then the elite level mastermind would be more of the acceleration room. This is where the conversations are different. They're higher level. They're a lot more direct, higher accountability, maybe moving a little faster. And a lot more intention goes behind building the business here. The wrong room at the wrong stage will slow you down. And I've seen this because I've seen people get in rooms that are really, really far advanced, and now they don't know all the steps in between. And then the opposite can be true because then you already have the steps. Now you feel like you're being slowed down. So the real question is, which room do you actually need right now? And most people skip thinking about this. I skipped thinking about this for a while. Again, like I said, I was a RIA whore. I went to everything. And now I really have to think about it. I filter what rooms I go into by what do I need right now? What are my actual current goals? So are you in the right room? Who are you around the most? Do they push you or they let you stay comfortable? Can you hide in that room? Are you growing or just staying busy? That one stings me the most because I've done the just staying busy too many times. I just said it, but I'm going to say it again because it's important. Most people don't stop and ask these questions of where they're at and where they want to go to. But that's when everything starts changing, is when you get in the right rooms. I don't believe we need more time because we all have the same amount of time. We need better environments. That's what helps give us our time back. Everyone has the same amount of time. And I'm not asking you to put this in the comments or unmute or anything, but like if you're really honest with yourself right now, you probably know the answers to all these. So then the questions become, what are you going to do about it if you're not in the right rooms? That's what I have. If I want to unmute in a minute here and hear from people, there's a lot of people in here that are in a lot of the right rooms. If you want to talk, there's a calendar link. I am happy to, if you want to have offline conversations, talk about more about these right rooms. I'm very passionate on the topic. There's no pitch there. It's 25 minutes to talk about what rooms you're in or what challenges you have. Um, and if you're not in the right room, and I think that you're a good fit for mine, I'll mention it. If not, I want you to be in a room. Um, don't keep going through everything on the alone side. So that's what I have prepared. I wanted to keep it to about 20 minutes, and look at that. I think I did. So, what questions do you have? And again, I know there's a lot of people in here in rooms that are in there with me. If you want to add anything to this, feel free to. So always the first person that has to speak up is the bravest one and gets everyone else brave enough. No questions at all?
I don't have
And
any
there we go,
questions
Steve.
necessarily, but I guess some comments. I find myself bouncing back and forth between not enough rooms and too many rooms.
Mm.
I stop and I ask myself, wait a minute, are you just getting into this cycle of going all to all of the meetings and calling that productive? And I blew off a breakfast this morning that has not proven beneficial in recent years, but it's an organization I really should be involved in because it would probably greatly expand my network here in my backyard. But it just has proven such a lame room to be in. And part of the reason is I'm not there kicking everybody else, and they could bring me business.
So then that question comes to my
And by the
mind.
way, I went back to this room because in 2025, I closed $4.7 million worth of deals with a guy in that room. He's right here in my backyard, but we had to go to a room in Las Vegas to connect.
So you said you're not kicking everyone. I mean, I assume you're referring to like telling everyone what you do and
Kicking
really
people up, motivating them,
motivate.
helping
Okay.
them, advancing them,
So
getting them out of their rut.
so you're not speaking up enough in the room.
Well,
So,
I need
so
to be
people know
there to
your
do
value.
that.
I I mean, that is part of like when we're in a room is we do have to speak up. That's why the bigger rooms for me, I can kind of get lost, even though I have the neon yellow shirt. But that's so you come to talk to me because in those big rooms, I don't want to go talk to people.
Well, you know me, I'm the yellow backpack guy.
Yeah. So, um, that's an interesting spot you're in. I'm curious to leave you to think about is are you in the right rooms when you're in too many? Are some of those not the right ones? And then are you using them the right way? So we can be in the right room, but not telling people what we do and not networking and giving value. For one, so they receive value, but then the other one, so then they understand that you have a lot of value to share. My guess is it's one of the two of them. I mean, I've left
Well, you
rooms
and I
that
have
gave
been in
me,
the same room, and my wife, when she's in the room, always tells me I have to stop taking over meetings.
So, I want to kind of jump in here, Steve, and
yeah,
just kind of
Please
challenge you a
do.
little bit on that. I think that you being the top guy in a room when you're trying to like participate in the room, you're not in the right room. You might have had some success. I mean, there was a big bunch of money that came out of there, but it's not challenging you and it's not incentivizing you to show up there and give and take in that right room approach. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, but I don't know if I left it out or you missed it. The breakfast this morning, as an example, is let me back up a few syllables here. I'm a commercial investment real estate guy. I have been for just about 40 years now, and most of my time over the last 40 years has been in distressed assets. I used to be involved in this organization and I rejoined last year or this year. Um, for the first time in decades. I used to be actively involved, a volunteer, but I just found the organization so lame all the time that I just stopped. Um, I do belong to a couple of national groups, and I was at a national meeting in Las Vegas where I'm not the smartest guy in the room by any stretch of the imagination. I kind of come in the middle. I'm an instructor, I'm on the faculty there, I teach classes there, but there's people there that are way far more brilliant than myself. And I didn't mean to say I'm brilliant. I'm just saying that there are really brilliant people there and far more successful than me. It was in that room that this guy from my local market showed up.
Okay.
And that's where we connected. And I helped him with a deal he couldn't get done for
So
three and
what
a
I'm
half years by
because I
being
do
the
want
guy that helps people that are stuck.
to, Steve, I do want to give some other people some time to
Yeah, go
chime in with
ahead.
questions. But what I heard, and I could be wrong, if we were in a mastermind room, we'd spend, another 20, 30 minutes on this. But I heard you say this guy, you met him and really talked to him in a different room than the coffee one.
Right.
And I have found that to be true as well. So I'm not hearing that the coffee one's the right room. It sounds like it's a little draining. And it sounds
Hmm.
like the guy may have been there, but you didn't meet him there. You met him somewhere else. And I mean, there can be a room full of great people, but if it's draining for me, I'm not going to show up the right way. And
Absolutely.
I've got to say, goodbye to that room. Not always easy.
Although it's a room full of commercial brokers and commercial broker wannabes in my backyard, and nobody in my market is doing what I do.
So,
They're just going, the basic mentality of brokers, as you know, is get the listing, get the listing, get the listing.
so then maybe you need to help run that room and make it more fun, so it's not so
Well,
draining.
that's what I was saying was I need to go take over.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons I've started some of my groups is I wanted to make it more of my personality in it. So good stuff.
Anyway, I don't want to take over I
Yeah,
don't want
no,
to
thank you. Thank
take
you for
over
being
the
the first to
meeting.
speak up. Anyone
Can
else
I
have
add one
something?
thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
I would say in just listening to Steve there, it sounds like he's in more of a meetup room versus like a mastermind room that's going to help him design something that's going to further him in his business versus just a overall general maybe knowledge room where it's a meetup, everybody's there, maybe they have the same type of business, but nobody's actually hearing what he needs or challenging him to get to that next level. So he might look at maybe like a mastermind of some sort.
That's a
Uh,
great point, and that's probably need to have a fourth type of room on here that I didn't think of. I mean, we are recording. I'm going to say that Dave's pretty smart. I don't like to say that on recorded lines. But yeah, there's probably, the other type of room is a networking room that you can get some of this. And I think I was thinking when I made that slide right there is more of like a mastermind type of rooms. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I appreciate the input, David. The room, the breakfast this morning is actually the commercial real estate brokers in the area.
So it's more networking.
And they
Yeah.
just have that, cash to mortgage mentality. And you and I both, and probably three-quarters of the people on your Zoom here are creative real estate people.
Hmm.
We're not cash to mortgage
Yeah.
mentality. We're friends don't let friends go to the bank and borrow money mentality.
Find, I'll end your little time here with this. Find your line to go and leave them with of whatever it is. Hey, when it falls through, call me. That
Yep.
was my line at the RIAs when I would drive further away. Hey, when you get that mobile home deal that you don't want, call me. Don't throw it away anymore. And I was able to help a lot of people and make a lot of money that way. So Good stuff, man. Appreciate it. Anyone else have a comment, question,
And I
or
would say
challenge?
along his lines,
Where are we at? Dan. Hey, buddy.
I mean, we can find value in any room, but he may only have a 1% chance of finding value in that room versus another room, it's a 100% chance. You know
Ooh.
what I mean? Like you can, I mean, if you
Yeah.
push hard enough, you can find value in every room, but I don't feel like going to McDonald's every single day and talking to everybody there. So, that's a low chance, but there is a chance. So
That's a great point. This is one reason I miss being in a room with you. It was a hard decision
I know.
not
I know.
to, but it's still get to talk to you. Great point, Dan. Yeah.
Adrian,
Hey, Noel.
hey, um, when you were going through your timeline and you showed how when you started getting into the right rooms, that's when things really took off. Um, and and obviously that, I'm starting to, evaluate the rooms I'm in and make those changes as you know right now. But is part of it, you think, also the mindset that happened when you decided to make that change and get in the right rooms? And is that part of the decision of which rooms you're going into and what you're going to get out of them is what you bring into them and what your plans and thoughts and how aggressive you are with your goals coming into it? Because if you're not, you may not get out anything just because you're just not ready to push at that time in your life or something.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think for me personally, it was probably an unhealthy motivator of if I was in a room that I felt like I wasn't maybe good enough or everyone was ahead of me because that's what you're supposed to do. I let the unhealthy of not wanting to show up and look like an idiot or, not have my stuff done. That was my motivator. So it can be unhealthy if I just sat there and did nothing with it. But yeah, it did force me to start studying more and be more focused. And because I didn't want to show up and get called out. I didn't want to be embarrassed and get called out. So I don't know if that's actually a healthy way to have gone about that or not, but it got me where I'm at. And that's
Sure.
still today. That's why I do want people around me that will push me and will call me out. That's that call out part because I don't want them to be able to call me out. And Dave will call me out.
Yeah.
And now you
I
get to call
went
me out
there.
too, as well,
Right.
because we're in
Yeah.
a room together. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. I know everybody's life kind of goes through cycles. I look at my thought process, maybe 25 years ago when I was a lot younger, and where I don't know if I'd had the right mindset to go with the right room and let it get me anywhere. And so I just kind of wonder if some of this is
For
timing,
sure.
and you've got to be ready to go to the next level yourself. They're gonna help you get there, but they're not gonna do it for you. You still have to be
Yep.
ready to go. And sometimes people, they think they're ready to go, but they're just not. They don't have that drive. And like you said, I think you had that drive, but I think that kick in the butt. Let me look at it this way. You had the you had the mindset that you were going to be mad at yourself if you didn't meet your goals that you told them you were going to.
Hmm.
If you were the kind of person that said, "Well, I guess I'm going to go to the meeting and say I didn't do anything, and that's okay," then that room isn't really going to help you out any either.
That's a great point. And yeah, so that can tell you're in the wrong room. If they don't call you out. And I had a friend, my late friend Bill wanted to leave his accountability group at one point because he's just like, they didn't call me out when I didn't do my stuff. And
Sure.
so that's one reason he wanted to leave and start a new accountability group. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's on what you said. That's one reason I kind of put these simple questions, thoughts of like what have gotten out of rooms. And in 10 years, I'm sure it'll be a little different than today.
sure. And you go into a lot of the rooms excited about what you can contribute as well.
Yeah, both. Well, it's what I can contribute. Um, there's still that what I think is that little bit of healthy fear of like, what are they gonna make me do or talk me into, or how are they gonna poke me that's a little uncomfortable. But that tells me for me, I want that. I want
Okay.
that little bit of uncomfortable poke because I've just noticed the difference of when I get that and then it doesn't last very long. And then I get closer to my goals faster. But when I've only been in very comfortable rooms, I really wasn't, I was just doing the same stuff over and over.
Yeah.
So I like that, like the Toastmasters we mentioned, it's still before I go speak. I mean, I've been in that for almost 10 years. I still have few seconds of nervousness. And my little brother said, he's like, I think it's really unhealthy not to be nervous right before you go up on stage because that means you don't care at all. I was like, yeah. So yeah, I think it's healthy to have that little bit of that nervousness of what's going to happen, but it's good.
Yeah. And the other thing, I know people have probably other questions, but you were talking about you're kind of changing the dynamic of the rooms and some of the, unless I misunderstood you, you're starting to kind of bring back some of the small coffee rooms. And and is that because you found that there is some more value to it than maybe you originally thought? Or I guess I kind of feel like sometimes there is. There's a lot of times that just the one on one, hey, let's go have coffee, or a couple of people, it is just a waste of time. But on one hand, if you enjoy being with those people, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I have pulled a lot of business off of just meeting with a friend of mine, and he brought another friend along, and I
Hmm.
got to know him. And next thing you know, we're doing a deal, and I just met the guy, and then he refers two other people to me as well. And I might have went through 20 coffees with this same guy and not gotten anything, but one day he brought a friend, and there it was. And but I enjoyed being with the friend anyways,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a big deal, and so do you see that too?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many layers to this question, and I know a lot more about you and your situation than most of the call. That we only have so much time, and so let's say I'll compare to some of the meetings that sound like more like what Steve was talking about. Um, and I've stopped going to some of those, a lot of them, because they're really just grabbing a beer and talking about someday when they do business. And as Dan kind of mentioned, yeah, I will meet someone there. I'll find someone eventually. But from my track record, when I go to that coffee meeting, for one, they have to get up early in the morning. So right there, they're a driver of some sort. Like it's not comfortable to get up that early in the morning and go have coffee. Even the people who've never done a deal that show up there, they're already showing that they show up. It's a lot harder to do that than go get a beer after work. So the quality of person is there. And yeah, it's a smaller room. Um, Sometimes I meet people that are, I'll do business with or just become friends, but I know the end of the day there, I enjoyed my conversations more than the superficial one having a beer, just because of who happens to be in that room. So if I never do any business or don't get any new contacts or anything on the coffee one, I enjoyed that a lot more than the beer one because the beer one is a lot more superficial. It's just trying to network with as many people as you can. So that's just been what I have experienced. Now, do I still go to some of the evening ones that are bigger and bigger network? Yeah, I have to have the right energy, but I'm always making the time commitment because I'm saying no to something else. So I really look at, all right, who do I think showing up there? Are they actually going to be my avatar for the reason I'm going? And that reason changes all the time.
Sure.
So yeah, man.
uh,
Good.
that was helpful. I like the point of if they got to get up early, so if they've got some level of commitment, they're already showing it there, so
Lunch meetings are the same because lunch is uncomfortable.
yeah.
You're on time crunch there sometimes. And again, even if someone's working a full-time job, if they're squeezing a lunch meeting in, that's not that easy. Like that person actually has it harder than the entrepreneur that can make their own schedule. So they
Yeah.
have even more, I would say, determination. because they have to do the work to get there.
No, I know you say I couldn't ask one more. I got one more question about you're in a lot of different rooms, and one
Yeah.
of the things that's come to my mind recently is, can you be in too many rooms?
Yes.
And we're yeah, I just think, if you bring the same question to too many groups and maybe get too many different answers, it just gets confusing maybe.
Yes, totally agree. I've done it multiple times. Now I'm essentially in 4 masterminds. I do look at my group coaching has a little bit of a mastermind aspect to it. And even though I run it, I still get feedback and learn from the members of it. So I don't bring the same question to all 4 rooms. I've learned that I know, like, all right, I'm going to bring this question more to this room and then maybe just run it by another room saying, hey, here's my plans. You see anything that goes against what you know about me, and give them a few seconds to poke at it. And if they don't say anything, then perfect. It's kind of the check mark. But if Laura's screaming like, no, Adrian, you said this before. And, because we're in a room together, and I do that a lot with the business in that room because we're a little bit more on the personal side. And I give a quick update of my business, and then I move to personal because I want them to be able to call me out if I'm doing something business that contradicts personal.
Sure.
But yes, it is possible to be in too many rooms.
Adrian,
It's a time thing too. That's what I mean. Dan Shank, I love Dan. I love being around, but that was why I had to drop out of a group that we were in together. It became a time commitment, and it took me a long time to decide which room to drop. And it was hard.
Adrian, I think that when you join multiple rooms, you join them for different. It's like a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Each room gives you a different piece of that puzzle. Some of them overlap for sure, but so I'm in 4 as well, and there's things that I'll bring up to one group that I won't to another, just because that group has more of a specialty in that whatever challenge I'm going through that I need help to break through. Not that the other room couldn't help me, but I feel like room A has a better chance of giving me the direction I need. So I pick the rooms based on where am I missing, where's the overlap, and where's the not being covered, and then I'll go look for a room that suits that need.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, these are the rooms I'm in right now. Elite level mastermind and yoga are kind of opposites if I look at these, because elite level mastermind is like, let's do more business, let's grow. And yoga's telling me to slow down. So like I need both influences for me. And then, Life and Air is more of my personal room. Toastmasters, I talked about, it gets me a little more uncomfortable. The RIA groups help me network. And then the Inside Lifestyle REI, I'm a little bit more of the facilitator there. So I get the coaching and that fulfillment, but I also get to learn from the people that are in the group as well. So yeah, that's a great point. All right, I'm going to stay on for, let's see if anyone has another question, but another 5-ish, 10 minutes, and then I've got to get ready for my Inside Lifestyle REI call. Andrea, you were unmuted. Was that you that just said something?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was hoping to
interject. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So I was interested in booking a 25-minute call with you. I mean, as you know, I'm just starting out with the property management, and I do have one property that I own and other properties that I manage. But I want to learn more about the property management so I can start to really invest into it. And I was wondering, how do I start learning the basics? Like, is this something people go to school for? Is this something people learn just through experience in real life? I'm just completely new, and I'm just kind of introducing myself. My name's Andrea. Hi, everybody. And those are my questions.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk about it over a call, but I'm just new to this.
let's definitely jump on a call. I put the link in the chat there. So it sounds like you're at the learning room stage, and yeah, I would say go to education. You know, there's definitely better education rooms than others,
Mhm.
but waiting 6 months to figure out which one that is, you can get more momentum by going to one that's so-so, in my opinion. And then you pick up a few things and you get into another room and then you hear something that's different and you're like, oh, okay, now I see why that was wrong. Um, so definitely get some learning. There's a little bit of vision stuff maybe we need to chat about of what you really want that to look like, because that'll help dictate what rooms you want to learn in. And then once you have that kind of moving, then a growth room of a room that has a lot more landlords and property managers. You know, I know where you're at, so I'm probably gonna tell you for that room, drive over to the CFRI. Tim Davis, that's on here. He runs a landlord meeting once a month,
Okay.
and so that's just the people you're looking at. You know, like so now you're in a room that has all the same conversation versus the business piece, you know, the growth piece, all the different things. Like that room is going to be right on point for you.
CFRI.
Yeah, it's a CFRA subgroup that Tim runs. That's a just a landlord. So even though your property management landlord overlaps a lot, you're going to turn this more into a business where some landlords keep it, we'll say, as a hobby. But there'll be a lot more overlap, and that's a great local room. So yeah, I would say sounds like you're at the learning room stage right now. And so learn, but don't take forever and just do that for the next 5 years and use that as an excuse that you haven't launched and done more. Just
Yeah.
remember at some point you know enough to go and take action. And if you're going to be managing other people's properties, of course, you got to look into actual licenses. Um, but yeah, let's talk more on a call too.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Angie, I'm going to put you last.
Last but not least, huh?
Yes.
How are you guys doing? I'm going to ask a question, Adrian, and I don't know if it's appropriate for the room or not, but we'll figure that out, I guess, whenever I ask it.
This is why
After
I love you, Angie, because of that.
we're just gonna go for it here. After leaving Dealmaker last month, I
Uh-huh.
really had I really wanted to find a way to give back to the community,
Mhm.
but also still make a living in real estate. And what I have been toggling around, and I've just been speaking to people about this, is for opening homes for people in transition, whether it's people that have been incarcerated, they need a place to live, I mean, it's just transitional living, or people that have been in AA or
Mhm.
anything with addiction, and they need a home to stay at. And I'm just trying to learn a little bit about that, and I don't know if you know or if anyone else knows of a good group to follow or any input that you might have.
Yeah, I've never done any of those. I know they exist, and I know that you can be helping a lot while making a lot. If anyone knows of a reputable one to share with Angie, just put it in the chat or unmute. I'll say that I do know that this is going to change everywhere, counties and states, of course, but there are some groups out there that you would just have your single family home, and then there's government agencies that pay for that person to be there in transition. So you wouldn't have to have some special housing or setup for it. Maybe there's a few small details that they look for that's a little different, like Section 8 has a few little pieces. Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you, Andrea. I thought you would know. St. Vincent's de Paul Cares, if I said all that right.
Yeah.
So that's one that, yeah, Central Florida has that for a transitional housing. and you get on their list, and then you say, hey, I have a vacancy. They say, we have this person, and I think they're even paying part or some of it.
Yeah.
And so I would search for those in your area. I'm not sure if they're still there. So you could have some government agencies that are doing this, and then just nonprofits as well. But as an
Yeah.
actual room to be in of other people doing it, I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's no worries. I just
I
thought
would
that I
put
would ask.
that, because we were just at Dealmakers, and that's a great room and community. I would put it in his Facebook group. Is
I did.
anyone? Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah.
First place that I went and actually got referred to David Shug, which David Shug and I were doing. We didn't really do a deal, but gosh, we had been communicating since 2020. So I reached out to him, and the problem that him and his wife were having with their properties is that they are not getting paid, and they are going about 60% in the hole on a monthly basis.
Ooh.
So, huh? I'm sorry.
I said, ooh.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, here we are with, a lady over here that got her head chopped off and can't drive and trying to start all over in real estate. And I'm hearing this. I'm like, there's no way in hell that I can afford,
Yeah.
to have a home or a small, a quad or a small apartment, with dealing with that type of thing. But he also said that getting funding was almost impossible unless you went through nonprofit. And I've heard that nonprofit is just it can be both ways. It can work both ways for you, pros and cons.
So that whole part, I would say you can kind of have any room for. So I mean, we talk about funding and private money a lot,
Yeah.
and the mastermind rooms and my Inside Lifestyle RIA too. It's just, if you got the right numbers and that's why being for me in that more intimate room, we get to know each other. It's
Yes.
not just like, hey, I just met you at Dealmakers. We knew each other before that.
Yeah.
Now we're closer because we spent some time, and then we went to dinner together. So
Sure.
now when you're in a room for multiple days with a person, and then you're on Zoom every month, and then there's a little chat in between, now you're getting even closer and closer. And it's like, I like what Angie's talked about. I like her business plan for it. I've seen the numbers. Yeah, I'll just put some of my money in it. So the
Yeah.
private funding, and we've got mutual friends that that know all this stuff, but that's where I have found huge value in it. And so the funding, I don't think you have to only go through nonprofits and that. And if you go the route where they're just they're just moving someone in, you're still going to have a lease. And you could even go a DSCR route because you have a lease, and they can
Yes.
still do it. They don't need
Yes.
to know that who's in there. And anyways, they can't discriminate on that anyways, the banks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that second part I think is not as big of a challenge if you're in the right room. The first part is a reason that one of your rooms should be people doing this actual type of business, because you get those kind of conversations of, hey, this nonprofit isn't paying, or this government agency isn't paying. What are we going to do together? A room that isn't niched on that can help you problem solve, but a room that's niched on it can help you get ahead of it because you're all in the exact same little industry.
Correct.
So that's the reason to have multiple rooms there.
Yeah. Yeah. I've joined maybe 4 or 5 Facebook groups, but it's just general. It seems to be just general stuff that you deal with. I just want to make sure. Go ahead.
You're moving from the learning to the growth now, because you're like, it's general stuff. Like, I kind of already know this. That's where you're at, I think. It sounds like.
Oh, I don't know, Adrian. I mean, I still feel like I'm in the learning curve, man.
We're always in the learning curve.
Always.
I mean, I'm still always learning stuff. I mean, there's some, a lot of people dropped off already. There's some really smart people still on this call here that you would say, oh, they don't need to learn anymore. Like, no, they're still learning.
Hey,
They're
when
still
we
making
stop
mistakes and still learning, because it always goes.
Yeah, when we stop learning, we stop growing. It's
Yeah.
very simple. So, well, I will I'm trying to find out and, just make sure that it's structured correctly from the get-go because Adrian, I can't wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months for a bed to get filled. I want to make sure that it's structured properly as far as
Yeah.
the structure, if it's a nonprofit or 501, whatever it might be. I want to make sure that that's structured correctly, the housing is structured correctly, and the funding is structured correctly, that it's guaranteed or
Yeah.
almost guaranteed from an entity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Someone else have something?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Go
Adrian, I
ahead.
know that you got to get going here, but I was gonna just say for Angie, might this be a little risky in your current position, where there's a lot of unknowns, even from the experience level? Would it make sense to go back to what you know and just start at the basics to start bringing in some cash flow and make this a year or 2 year kind of goal, just
Well,
to not put yourself in a position where it's all or nothing kind of,
Well, that's David. I might have that wrong, but that's kind of how I've gone into everything with all or nothing. But to be honest with you, David, wholesaling has it has left such a bad taste in my mouth. I had my license in Mississippi and Alabama, and that's what I did. And things have changed so much in the past 4 years, David. I mean, it's not
yeah.
something that I'm very passionate about.
So why not do that same marketing, but buy the houses to either flip or to rehab and rent, and you can get private money for that, and then DSCR out of them.
That's
Uh,
what I'm actually working on doing right now, David, is trying to find some flips available. And my contractor is also my PML, so we just go in on both. But that's actually what I'm trying to do now, David, just to get a penny in my pocket.
yeah,
And I would add to that, if you're going to put it for rent as a single family house, you can also reach out to these companies and say, hey, I have this available. And it's basically whoever comes first. You don't have to say it's one or the other.
Yeah, that's
And,
true.
and last thought I have there is for the structure that I know you're concerned with, is you can go work it backwards. Go to a few of the agencies that help with the transitional housing and say, what do you need to see to move someone in and
Yes.
actually write a check? And now you get all of that pieces in line. I mean, that's what I tell people when they're fixing flipping mobile homes, you need to go to the bank that the person is going to get funding with and ask all of the requirements of the skirting and all that. So now you can
Mhm.
actually rehab it the right way.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. So start there. I like the idea of looking at either one. I know you have that passion, but when you make a lot of money, you can help more with your passion.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, David, I mean, you and David are right as far as getting a flip, but hell, I'm having a lot of trouble finding the deals that I used to find. They're not out there like they were in 20 and 21 and even 22.
no,
So I agree, but also in 2021, 22, people were saying the same thing about 08, 09, and 10. They were saying, oh, the deals aren't here. And in 5 years, what are people going to be saying about now?
Right.
well, and a
Yeah.
lot of the deals that we used to find, like to fix and flip 5 years ago,
Yeah.
the deals are skinnier, but a lot of those make good rental houses still. The margins are still good for rentals where you can cash out with little or no money in the deal. So it depends on
Yep.
the market, but that would be where I would tell you to focus if you ask me my opinion. Just get some passive income coming in, 300,
Yes.
200, 500, whatever. And
Yeah.
then, like Adrian said, once you have enough that you're covered, then you can start chasing that passion of, wanting to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
We
You got to take
do
care of yourself first.
we
Go
do
ahead, Brian.
we do some things with the VA. So
Yes.
veterans housing, they can give you soft commitments on the housing. We also use an agency called VinFin, and they take care of people that have like brain injuries or maybe they were born that way, and they don't have to be handicap accessible.
And these are agencies that pay very well. They're, so I think that's better than trying to go the route that you're talking, the people that are in between. That's a very difficult business. And the clientele is not very easy to deal with.
Correct.
So
I've
I have
heard.
done some of that, but that's
Brian,
my
could
2
you,
cents.
Brian, would you mind repeating the name of that group? Is it
The VinFen, VINFEN,
BINFEN?
FEN, yeah, and
Okay.
also the veterans. So I think
Okay.
they're a good place to start. And they do
Yes.
kind of transitional housing also. We're trying to get people reacclimated with society.
Sure. Sure. And that is for people with brain injuries, you said?
Yeah,
Or-
VinFen, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I actually have a traumatic brain injury, so I wonder if I could actually work that
Yeah.
to an advantage as being a minority owner in something like this.
That's going to be a great story for them and for you.
Yeah. I have about 15 clients from there now. So I use them quite a bit.
Really? So
Perfect.
do you do, Brian, is this what you do full time?
I do multifamily investing, but
Yes.
I have bought mobile homes. I actually have one for sale right now. And I was thinking about it as I've started following Adrian. I've done probably 6 or 7 of them, and
Yeah.
maybe I haven't really done them the right way, and maybe I'm leaving money on the table because I don't really, all I'm doing is flipping. So that's why I'm here. I need to
Yeah.
learn what I don't know.
Look, it could be a housing for one of these agencies. Why couldn't you use a mobile home? Get it to what they need, and because you
Yeah.
pay less, they could, produce a higher return.
That's
Yeah,
very
that's right.
true.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Brian, thank you for speaking up right there. I know that was huge for Angie.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, I promised Dan I would keep this at an hour, and I want to make sure Dan is happy. So all right, no, really, thank you all for jumping on here, throwing in comments and value. And yeah, if I can help anyone, just use that calendar link, book a call, and we'll just chat about being in the right rooms. I think the end here showed exactly what doing how the right room works when it works. Is Angie had a question, Dave gave some feedback, I gave something a little different, and then Brian stepped in with experience feedback, and that's how, to me, the value of these rooms. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.